Okay, this is the second lecture for the final exam review for international relations. Again, moving on here, there's another question about hegemony. Okay, so again, you might want to review that section where it talks about hegemony. Again, remember the exam is over chapters 4, 7, and 9. And there's a section there within chapter 4 and I believe chapter 7, particularly chapter 4, though, with regard to hegemony. Okay. Again, another question, again, to reiterate again, know the different paradigms in chapter 9 about their vision for the end of history and how that's all going to play out. Okay. Know their strengths and know their weaknesses, because there'll be some questions on the exam dealing with the strengths and weaknesses of some of these theories. Okay. Okay, what else? Okay, know what constructivists think about war. What do constructivists think about war? Okay, there'll be a question with regards to that. Know a little bit about John Mueller and what John Mueller thinks. There's a section in, I believe, chapters 4 and 9 about that. So John Mueller. Know something about what global governance is. Okay, global governance, what that involves. Know what new medievalism is. Again, there's another question that deals with this. Okay, again, there's a question that deals with liberal commercialism or the liberal vision. Okay, know what the Kantian triangle is and how the Kantian triangle applies to war. Okay, is again, if you apply the logic of the Kantian triangle, how does that apply to war? Know something about the floating exchange rate system. Okay, that's in chapter 7, the floating exchange rate. Again, America moved off the gold standard and it's based on a floating exchange rate, which deals with the imbalance of trade between nations. Okay. Know what the Doha round is. That's in chapter 7, the Doha round. These are negotiations and discussions dealing with the IMF. Okay. Know what comparative advantage is. There's a question on comparative advantage. Let's see. Know something about the cause of the 2008 global economic crisis. I'm sure in the next international relations text, they'll be like, hey, what caused the 2020 global economic crisis? Which would be interesting to see how they, again, the new textbook on international relations will be fascinating when they factor in the coronavirus pandemic. So know something about the 2008 global economic crisis, what it caused, what caused it, what happened with regards to it. Know something about how realists look at the world and how neo-Marxists look at the world in international relations. There's a couple of questions that deal with how realists and neo-Marxists compare and contrast with one another, okay? Know something about which nations or nations are good indicators of globalization right now, okay? In other words, if you want to see the effects of globalization, what would be a good nation to look at? Again, there's another question on hegemony. There's probably 4 or 5 questions dealing with the concept of hegemony, so make sure you understand that. Know something about comparative advantage. Again, I believe there's another question there dealing with comparative advantage. Also, know something about beggar thy neighbor policies. Again, this is what was going on during the Great Depression, okay, where tariffs were being imposed by America on other countries to protect American goods, and tariffs were being imposed by European nations on other European nations and America to protect these individual nations' goods, okay, which created a whole big price war, which basically exacerbated the already problematic Great Depression. Know what non-tariff barriers are. Know something about non-tariff barriers. Know why government subsidies are imposed. Know something about government subsidies. Also know something about protectionism, what protectionism is, why nations engage in it. Okay, know something about total war. In chapter 4, it talks about total war. Again, prior to World War I, there really was no such thing as total war. Okay, where literally not just nations going against one another, but when a nation would go to war against another nation, it would literally involve that entire nation in the war, okay? As opposed to think warfare in the Middle Ages where you had a king and a bunch of mercenaries going against another king and another mercenary, right? You didn't have all of the citizens in that state going to war. It was a select few people going to war, okay? But since World War I, you've had this idea of total war. So all of the citizens of a nation now get involved in that war, okay? And so know something about that, okay? Know something about coercive diplomacy, what coercive diplomacy is, okay? Know something about that. Know what how cognitivists explain war, okay? Again, there's a section there in chapter 4 about cognitive explanations of why warfare happens, okay? There's another section, there's another test question about jus in bello, okay? What jus in bello is. Again, there's another question about pacifism. Know the pros and the cons of pacifism. Okay, know the pros and cons of pacifism. There's another question that deals with Marxism and what they think about warfare and why it's caused. Okay, know the difference between interstate and intra-state wars. Okay, the difference between interstate and intra-state wars. Okay, so I covered basically what's going to be on the test, and hopefully this helps you. If you have any questions about it, please let me know, and I'd be happy to help you as best I can. I thought about doing a Zoom, a Zoom review, but given the fact that there was hardly any people that joined the Zoom discussion we had about a week or so ago, I just thought, you know what, this will cover all the bases and everyone will be able to see this at their leisure in your schedule. And so I just want to be as fair to everyone so you guys all have the review. So hopefully this helps you, and I wish you well in this test. And if I don't talk to you before then or afterwards, please know that it's been my absolute pleasure to have had you in this class, and in the most unusual of all classes and semesters I've ever had as a teacher. And I'm sure this is the same of you as a student. And please know I wish all of you well. I really wish we could have had class together, in particular with the videos. I'm so looking forward to seeing your videos for the Global Pandemic Project. We really have a lot of fun when we can all kind of watch them together, and we kind of have popcorn and the whole thing, and it's a lot of fun. But if any of you need any help with anything after class, when you're moving on to college or whatever, need a recommendation or something, let me know. I'll be happy to help you. It's been my honor to be your prof this semester, and again, wish you well, and you guys all take care.